Hello students, welcome back to the 17th lecture of PHP. In the last lecture, that is lecture number 16, I just showed you how to set the connection to our database of MySQL, and today I will show you how to insert the data into the table that we have created using MySQL. So let's start. After a database and a table have been created, now we can start adding data in them. Here are some syntax rules to follow before we begin. First one is the SQL query must be quoted in PHP. Second rule says that string values inside the SQL query must be quoted. The third rule is numeric values must not be quoted. And the fourth rule is the word null must not be quoted. There is one statement called as insert into. We are going to see that. The insert into statement is used to add new records to MySQL table. Just a quick revision of the table that we have created. See, this is the database that we created, sample, and inside that database, I created a table called as student. This student has four columns. First one is roll number, which is a primary key, then the last name, first name, and email. Now let's start filling the data into our table. If you say the first column here, that is the roll number, it is auto increment. So if a column is auto increment, then there is no need to specify this particular column in the SQL query. MySQL will automatically add the value to this particular column. Let's write the program now. In the previous lecture, we have already discussed the server name, username and password. Now what we have to mention is the database name. We will create a variable, say DB name for our database, and give the name of the database that you have created. The name is sample. Then we have to create the connection. So this is the connection string that I have already explained you in the previous class. Just one more parameter I have to add, and that parameter is nothing but our variable for the database. So that is DB name. Then as usual we are going to check the connection. If some problem is there while setting the connection, we will display this message using die and we'll say connection failed, and we will display the error during that failure of the connection. The next step is now we have to write the query. Let's write the query and store that into a variable, say SQL, and the query is, see double quotes. First of all, please remember that we have to write the query in double quotes, and since we are going to insert the data into our table, we have to use the query called as insert into. So let's write the query insert into. Here you have to specify the name of your table in which you want to insert the data. So the name of our table is student. Then you have to mention the fields that you have in your table. We are not going to mention the first field. So we will start with first name. Then we have last name and we have email. Then you have to mention the values, which values you want to insert for these particular fields or for these particular columns. So we will use the keyword called as values, and let's give some value. First name matches with Smita. Then is the last name. I'll write my surname here, last name, and I will write my email. Close the bracket. Don't forget to give the single quote for each of your values. Now we are going to check whether the query has been executed or no. So we are going to use if condition, and in this if condition we are checking whether the query has been executed correctly or no. So we will use MySQL query function, and the two parameters for this is your connection string as well as your query, SQL query. So that is stored in variable called as SQL. And if the query is executed properly, we will echo the message new record created successfully. Else, we will echo the error. So we'll say echo. Let's run the program. So it displays the message new record created successfully. Let's go and check the record whether it has been inserted or no into our table. So let's go to our table, and here you can see roll number is 1, last name is Desai, first name is Smita, and email is smita@gmail.com. So that means we have successfully inserted one record into our table of MySQL. Let us discuss the functions that we have used in our PHP. So the first function to be discussed is MySQL query. In PHP, MySQL query function is used to execute SQL queries. The function can be used to execute the following types of queries, for example, insert, select, update, and it has two parameters. The first one is your connection link, and the second one is your query. That's all for the day. In my next class, I will show you how to update your query. Thank you.